That time. This may not be vicious at this time. So what are they talking about? What's the big deal about it? You might say, well, it was a big deal at that time. Shudrena Brahmanyam Utpannaha. And so this is all Varna Sankara. All of these are, they don't know what. So Varna Sankara means those who do not belong to regular Varna, regular caste. Swami used to give an explanation of this, that when there is a Varna Sankara, that is when there is a person who doesn't belong to a particular caste, then people of the caste do not know how to relate to that person. He is here, Shudrena Brahmanyam Utpannaha, a Brahmana woman and a Shudra man. So, Utpannaha, and the son is born, he is called Chandala, Heva Chandala. Therefore, I am sure that abortions were taking place then also. That's why Bhrunaha. And if they did not take place, then a Chandala. I don't know how they managed this at that time. So whether this kind of a child was abandoned, or whether, I don't know, how did a Chandala come into being? Unless, of course, they accepted this. That a Brahmana woman left her home and went away to a Shudra. That must have happened. And then they have a son who is called a Chandala. Says Anandagiri, Brahmanyam, so how? Bhashyakara, this is not Bhashyakara's own thing. Bhashyakara just gives an explanation that is currently obtaining at that time. So this is from this Smruti. Brahmanyam Kshatriya Sutaha Vaishyad Vaidehikas Shudra Jatastu Chandala Sarva Dharma Bahishkritaha. Yajnavalkya Smruti says this. Brahmanya is Kshatriya man, and so Brahmana man and Brahmana woman, no problem, because it is Brahmana. But Kshatriya man and Brahmana woman, a problem. Brahmanyam Kshatriyat, he's called Sutaha. So this Karna was Suta Putraha. Sutaha, that also a jati usually whose duty was driving chariots, etc. So it was Suta. So even Suta is one of the sages also. His name also was Suta. So there could be sages as well. But anyway, he is called Sutaha. So a child who is born of a Brahmana Stri and a Kshatriya man or father. Vaishyad, Brahmana mother and Vaishya father. It's called Vaidehaka, another Varna Sankara jati. Shudra Jatas to Chandala, Brahmana mother and Shudra father. That son is called Chandala. Sarva Dharma Bahishkrutaha. That fellow, Suta and Vaidehika have some place in the society, but Brahmana has no place in society. So he must be outcast. That's how this outcast business came, and that's how Asprushyata also must have come in course of time. Although they say that the untouchability was not in the Vedic culture, that untouchability came after the Jains came. So for somehow, that's how they were traced. How Jains have outcast and then the people were sent away. So every town may have a wall around it. And these people were sent outside, because they were not acceptable and they were not included. They were not allowed to live within the confines of a town. That's the only way to punish. How will the caste punish them, And so to maintain a certain group, to maintain whatever it is. Anyway, we need not go into all that stuff. But the thing is, what I'm saying is in some way the thing still prevails in a different way. We ridicule this thing, of course. We do it in our own way. We have our own way of outcasting people, and And so they used to say that this BJP was outcast, So it was a pariah, this party, like Janasangh. Rest of the parties will have nothing to do with that. Communists will say, we have nothing to do with that. Congress, they were all great people. These people are all the fundamentalists and whatever they call them, So that's how outcast. Nobody will relate with them. So this is a tendency in a human being. The idea is that it is not that the tendency prevailed only and then. This is the tendency that obtains a human being, that whenever people do not conform to our way of doing things or living, then we just get rid of them, outcast. So that's how the society is. Every society lies like that. But a developing society, so these are certain vicious tendencies in human beings they have of isolating people, of outcasting them. Even children do that. Children also, they isolate a child, They don't talk to him for the whole day. That's all. They isolate him. They don't allow him to play with them. They don't play with him. Very commonly we see, right from that time, So this is the need of human being, to be able to isolate those who do not conform to them so that they feel comfortable among their own kind, that's all. So person feels comfortable among their own kind. And whenever there is someone who is not of their kind, he is generally shoved away, So even if you are traveling in the train, and if 6 people are sitting there playing cards, and smoking and playing cards, then you go and stand there or sit there, they will nudge you away. If you don't smoke, if you don't play with them, they don't like you to be around. Just get away. Similarly also, we do not like those people around when they do not conform to ourselves. This is the tendency. This is in the human mind. And it comes out of a need. You feel secure when you are among your own kind. Feel uncomfortable when, so we are in the midst of people who are not of our kind. And isolation can be then in the way of punishment. These people are punished. So sarva dharma bahishkrutaha. He is bahishkrutaha. He is excluded from every kind of dharma. That means that the fellow is isolated. Nobody will get married, they will not give their daughters or sons to them, and this is very difficult, make life extremely difficult for them. And so person has no way out other than to resort to all kinds of way of life, then what else will they do? Then again, so already his prarabdha is bad, whatever he has done, the society does not give an opportunity to correct that person. And therefore the person will sink further and further. Because he is out of, he doesn't have any relation with anybody, so he will drink, he will do all kinds of things. Or he will do those kind of, he will perform those activities which are again, then he will also want to take his revenge from the society, and then he will become a thief and he will become all kinds of things. So this is how society creates this. Not society, human mind creates all of this. If you had some generosity or charitableness to be able to forgive them, and to take them back into our fold, all right, perform these kind of prayaschitta karmas are there. I guess they must be there. I am not that familiar with these things anyway. I have not read these smritis that well to know whether the prayaschitta karma, that a person who has done this, that child can be taken back into the main fold or the mainstream. I do not know. I have not heard much of that anyway. That the people were taken back into the fold. People were discarded. That is more commonly what we hear. Not this. So these are all societies, which are growing societies, learning, I guess, somewhat primitive societies. That's what they are. Because, and everywhere you find, people are suffering from diseases, like what do you call them? Leprosy, etc. They're all, every society. That's why Jesus Christ, you see him. So healing these people. That's the reason why there is so much love for him, because he was a healer. So he healed the pain of the people, not only physical pain, emotional pain. And that's the reason why there is such an amount of love for him. It's hard to find a person like that in this society, in this culture. All gods are there, avatars are there, but still, their life is all fighting and stuff like that, whatever it is. But healing is there to a limited extent. Lord Rama had a lot of healing, of course, that he accepted. All these, all these are jatis, all the from the forest. So tribals and people, all of them were adopted by him, and he could embrace them. That's just most amazing. I don't know what it must take God in our society to do that. Nobody would dare to do that, even if they felt like doing it. He did it. Monkeys and bears, whatever they mean, all of them could become part of him. That's the most wonderful thing. Or Lord Krishna also adopting all the cowherd boys, and they are not necessarily high caste people, all of them are accepted, So this is really, and tending cows, etc., all of this is Pashupalanam. So these are very beautiful things. That's why these gods are so much loved. Also, not only because, of course, Lord Rama is the embodiment of Dharma, but at the same time, there is that tremendous amount of compassion and love evident in their life. And that is what human being wants. Not only we want God, who is someplace in heavens and everything, is all fine. But you want God who touches your life. So these are the God who touch the life. And that's the reason why they have become so much woven into our life. But more than anybody else, the one who touched the life of everybody was Jesus Christ, or Buddha also. That's why Buddha is highly revered. Although he's very known for his compassion and non-violence, we do not know as to whether he is known for the healing or known for that kind of a thing, but highly known for the non-violence and compassion. And Jesus Christ is most known for his compassion, for his healing, for his accepting everybody. So that is what people want. Not only we want God, but we also want something God like that. And so that is the whole movement of bhakti. You know, whether that love and compassion, all of this that came later on in the Puranic times. And that's how all of this becomes necessary. Anyway, whatever it is, so this is the Chandala. Sah jati nimittena karmana jate prayojakena. Jati nimittena means those karmas which are responsible for this particular kind of a jati. Poor fellow, you know, he's born. He can say that the parents are responsible for me. He could say that, you know. He is a product of lust, naturally. Of when this kind of intercasting happens, or admixture happens, then that's why Arjuna said also, Adharma bhivad Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyah strishu dushta suvarshane jayate varna sankaraha. So when this kind of corruption takes place, and is bound to take place because there is a structure of the jati and things like that, and people are required, to always, there is a restriction, that you are required to get married only in this caste, and that without any consideration whether you like them or not, you see. That's why people will find the ways out, because their feelings, they need expression, that's all. And when the society doesn't allow that, then people find their own ways, and that's how they take liberty. And then they are punished, and then they take liberty. This is how caste and subcaste and this caste and that kind of that 3,000 castes are there right now. From 4, we have wound up with 3,000. 3,000 recognized castes. And not counting all the fellows who are out of caste, Among them also there are castes. They are untouchables of their own untouchables, and things like that. It's just amazing. These are all human minds. They're all the limitations of human mind that are evident, nothing else. It is Smritimashrithya Chandalo Namayati. So then Paulkasaha, Pulkaseva Paulkasaha. Who is the Paulkasa? Jato Nishada Shudrayam Jatya Bhavati Pulkasaha is quoted here. Footnote number 8. No, where are we? Let's say footnote number 9, is it? No, there is no footnote there. Okay. Jato Nishaya Shudrayam Jatya Bhavati Pulkasaha. So Shudra woman and Nishada man. Both of them have a problem anyway, Nishada man and Shudra woman. So the one who is born of them is called Paulkasa or Pulkasa. It must be inferior to Chandala, I guess, because at least in Chandala, one member is a Brahmana. Here, one is Nishada, other is Shudra. But one thing is that, the thing is Pratiloma and Anuloma. Another important thing is, so a man of a superior caste and woman of inferior caste is okay. That's called Anuloma. But a man of inferior caste and a woman of superior caste is a greater problem. That's called Pratiloma. So Brahmana Stri and Shudra man, so that is Pratiloma. Here, Shudra Stri and Paulkasa man, perhaps it's Anuloma sort of. Anyway, it is Smrutehe, Shudrayam, footnote, I don't know why I'm talking so much about this, but anyway, footnote number 10. Shudrayam shows a certain amount of frustration with the prevailing things, I guess that's all it is. Shudrayam Brahmana Jataha Nishadaha iti. So Shudra Stri and Brahmana Purusha. So the one who is born, the child is called Nishada. So Nishada Raja, we have Nishada there. So I guess Nishada were those who were the fishermen and then the boatmen, etc. They were called Nishada. So these people did. So this particular kind of people performed that task for the society. Then the footnote says there, Vipran murdhavasiktohi kshatriyayam vishastriyam ambashta shudryam nishado jataha parashavopi chaiti smrutehe. So Viprat, Murdhavakshito is Kshatriyayam. So Kshatriya woman and Vipra man. So Brahmana man, Kshatriya woman. That's Anuloma. The person who is born is called Murdhavasikta. So Murdhavasikta is also Kshatriya. In Kshatriya there is this kind of a, perhaps a subcaste or whatever, Murdhavasikta. Vishahastriyam. A Brahmana man and a Vaishya woman is called Ambashtha, another kind of a caste, Ambashtha. Shudram, Brahmana man and Shudra Stri is called Nishada, Jata is called Nishada. Parashavopi is called Parashava also. It is Smrute. The Tika Kani, it is Smrute Heti, Vyakhyanam Upeti Anvaya, it is Shrute. So from taking resorting to this Shruti, Bhashyakara gives this Vyakhyanam. Then say the Tika Tathacha Ukta Bhashya Anurodhad Smrutau Shudra Shabdaha Kshatriyayameva Shudra Sambandhat Aupacharikaha Bodhyeti Bhavaha. The Ukta Bhashya Anurodhad, that is not Bhashyakara's Bhashya, this Bhashya. It is Smrute, Vanagiri, Shudrayam Brahmana Jataha Nishadaha. So Shudrastri and Brahmana is Nishadaha. However, Shudra Shabda Kshatriyayam, that word Shudra should be understood as Kshatriya, because Brahmana and Kshatriya combination is called Nishadaha. So there Anandagiri says, so he is Nishadaha. Such a Jatya Shudra Nishada is called is a Shudra by Jati. Shudra becomes a general thing, in that so many Jatis are there. Tasmat Kshatriyayam Jataha, again from Shudra, that Pulkasa man and Kshatriya woman is, no, the Nishada man and Kshatriya woman is called Pulkasa. It must be so complicated, I know, to keep track of this kind of thing, It's called Pulkasa Bhavati, in the Vyakhyanam Vetya, Shudrane Veti. So Bhashyakara is Shudraneva Kshatriyayam Utpanna. So he's called Pulkasaha or Paulkasaha. Anyway, so Sopi Apulkaso Bhavati, even also he ceases to be a Pulkasa. What kind of complex he must be entertaining for the whole day? In all his waking state, he must be entertaining tremendous complex of being a Paulkasa or being a Chandala and being whatever. Thank God that in deep sleep state, he becomes free from that complex also. Tatha meaning Chandalavat, Tatha similarly Paulkasaha. Okay. Or Tatha is the Tatha that comes later. Okay. Tatha. That Tatha which is on page 1117, the first word Tatha. That is Chandalavat Ityavat. Okay. Then Anandagiri says Shramanadi Vakyasya Tatparemaha. So this passage, this section rather, Atrastenaha Asteno Bhavati, Bhrunaha Abhrunaha, Chandalaha Achandalaha, Paulkasaha Apaulkasaha. This section, Bhashyakara said that this the Atma becomes free from even Ghora Karma, even most vicious actions also, Atma becomes free from connection with them. Then next a few sentences are there, Shramanaha Ashramanaha, Tapasaha Tapasaha. What does that mean? So Shramanadi Vakyasya Tatparemaha. What is the Tatpari of that sentence? Tathayati. Bhashyakara says Tatha Ashrama Lakshanaischa Karmabhihi Asambaddha Bhavati Iti Uchyate. The Shravana and Tapasa are meant to say that the person Atma becomes free from Ashrama Karma. That I belong to certain Ashrama, Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa, that I belong to certain Ashrama is also due to the karmas which connect me. So when I get connected to those karmas, then I find myself belonging to a given Ashrama. So next two are the illustrations of Ashrama. So Tatha means, says footnote 1 there, Ashrama Lakshakaihi, Ashrama Paprapakaihi. So Ashrama Lakshakaihi, that is where that footnote number 1 should go. Ashrama Lakshanahi means what? Ashrama Lakshakaihi. meaning ashrama papakaihi. Ashrama lakshana. So that by which one sees an ashrama. So ashrama prapaka. So that by which someone is characterized by ashrama, so those karmas were responsible for him to get that ashrama. There one becomes a grihastha also requires some karma. Because vanaprastha also requires karma. Becomes sannyasi requires karma. Each one of them requires particular karma. Ashrama lakshanaihi, ashrama prapakaihi karmabhihi. Thus the karmas which are responsible for a person to get a certain ashrama, by those karmas also asambadho bhavati. He becomes unconnected. That is what Shruti wants to say. Then Bhashyakara says, Shramanaha parivrat yat karma nimitto bhavati saha tena vinirmuktatvad ashramanaha tatha tapasaha vanaprasthaha atapasaha sarvesham वर्णाश्रमादीनाम् उपलक्षणार्थम् उभयोः ग्रहणम्. तथा similarly आश्रम लक्षणैश्च कर्मभिः असम्बद्धो भवति. Similarly also he becomes free from the karmas which are responsible for him to be identified with a certain ashrama. Iti uchyate. This is what Shruti says. Shramana ashramana bhavati. Who is Shramana? Parivrat. So what Shramana means here? A parivrat, a sannyasi. So one was a mendicant, a wandering monk. That's how a sannyasi was meant to be. When a person takes sannyasa, ideally he becomes a wandering person. That's all. And he lives on bhiksha. He doesn't remain identified with any particular place, etc. Otherwise it's called kuti chaka. If he lives in a kutiya, then it's called kuti chaka. Because he lives in a hut or in a dwelling place, But generally speaking, sannyasi means one who is wandering. That's why it's called parivrat. See footnote number 2 there. Shramana shabdasya kshapanake rudhim ashankyaha. The word Shramana is generally well known for what? Kshapanaka. A Kshapanaka means a Bauddha monk or a Jaina monk. So Bauddha or a Jaina monk were called Shramana. And still they are called Shramana more commonly. A Vedic or a Hindu sannyasi was not generally called Shramana. So word Shramana is found in Panini also. Panini also uses the word Shramana. So they wonder whether the word Shramana comes from the Buddha tradition or what. But then, in all probabilities, these Upanishads are more ancient than Jaina or Buddha. Both, so Mahavira and Buddha, both of them were in the 6th century BC. And these Upanishads are even more ancient than them. And therefore, the word Shramana comes from this tradition into this rather than the other way around. Anyway, that's what they would like to say. So that Shravana is a word that was used in the Vedic culture also, or not that it is, so it is borrowed by the Buddhas and the Jainas, and not the other way around. But anyway, footnote number 2 wants to clarify that. So Shravana Shabdasya Kshapanake Rudhim Ashankya. So word Shravana is commonly understood to be a Buddha or Jaina monk. Says no. Bhashyakara says parivrat. It means here a sannyasi. So taduktam vartike parivrat shravanogneha tapasashrama sannidheti. Why is it so? Why should Bhashyakara choose to explain the word shravana as a sannyasi? Vartikara explains. Parivrat shravanogneha. The word shravana must be understood as parivrat or a wandering sannyasi. Why? Tapasa ashrama sannidhehe. Because it is that word occurs in vicinity of the word tapasaha. What is tapa? Tapasaha vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is a tapasvi. The one who lives in the forest and lives a life of austerity or penance is called vanaprastha. So since the word shramana occurs in vicinity of vanaprastha or tapasa, and tapasa means vanaprastha means an ashrama, the word shramana also should mean an ashrama, therefore sannyasi. Okay. So parivrat yat karma nimitto bhavati sah shramanah tena vidurmuktvatvat ashramanah. Therefore, he is no more shramana. Tadha tapasah vanaprastha atapasah. Similarly also, the one is vanaprastha ceases to be vanaprastha in the state of deep sleep. This is not state of deep sleep, this is a description of Atma really. What is meant is that Atma is free from the idea of even ashrama, free from idea of any kind of a role, free from any kind of a notion. And inasmuch as every notion is created by some particular karma is responsible for creating a given notion, and therefore it is said here that it becomes unconnected to every kind of karma, and therefore becomes unconnected to every kind of notion. And this is what we call freedom. What we call moksha is nothing but freedom from every notion. Inasmuch as a given notion is responsible for the pains occurring from that notion. Every notion will give rise to its own peculiar pains, its own peculiar stresses, and its own peculiar pains. And here it is said, one becomes free from every notion, that means every particular pain. Okay. Then says Anandagiri, परिव्राट तापसयोः एव ग्रहणात् तत्कर्मयोगे भी सौषुप्तस्य वर्णाश्रमांतर कर्मयोगम शंकित्वाह. परिव्राट तापसयोः एव ग्रहणात्. Shruti only mentions these two ashramas, sannyas and vanaprastha. Tatkarma ayoge be right. So all right, we understand that Atma is not connected with the karma pertaining to sannyasa and vanaprastha ashramas. Saushuptasya varnashrama antar karma yogam. But maybe the Saushupta Atma is connected to other ashramas, only Grihastha and Brahmacharya, why not? Therefore Bhashyakara Sarveshamati. So Bhashyakara says, Sarvesham varnashramadinam उपलक्षणार्थम उभयोः ग्रहणम. Sarvesham varnanam. We must understand the Atma becomes free from the karma, unconnected to karma, giving rise to any kind of ashrama and any varna. Even though a few varnas are mentioned, all the varnas, few ashramas are mentioned, all ashramas, and then adi. And is adi shabdena vayovasthadi grushyate. Even that I belong to certain vayas, age, also due to karma. Avastha, different avasthas are there. Balyavastha, Yuvavastha, there are avasthas. Vruddhavastha. That I belong to certain avastha also is due to karma. Then, what is it? Footnote number 14. Vayovastha, Adi, there is also an Adi. So, Vashyakara Varnashrama Adi. Then Tikakara says Vayovasthadi Adi. So then Tippanikara says Vayovasthadi iti Vayah shata varshadi rupam ayuhu avastha balyadi iti vivekah purushasthayadi cha adi shabdagrahyam. So Vayah shata varshadi rupam ayuha means ayushya, the age. And avastha is the state, or the different, what shall we call it, different stages rather of the body. And there is one of an adi. So that person can be young or old, but again man, woman, this concept further are there. So Purushasthriyadi, there is also an adi that you have to find out what it means, So Purushasthriyadi, adi shabdagrahyam, so Purushastri, etc. And so whatever person may feel manager and whatever driver and so forth and so on. So further, Purusha is also there, and then I am a driver, further Adi, anyway, driver Adi, and so Grahyam. Every kind of a notion he becomes free from. Then continuing, Bhashyakara says, footnote number 4 there. Since Anandagiri doesn't give a comment there, therefore the Tippanikara gives here. Footnote number 4. Sambandha janakanam karmanam anantyad dvida upasamhrutya tadatitatvam aha. Sambandha janakanam karanam anantyad. How many karmas will you take into account? Shruti has tried to take into account many karmas. Karmas which create in me good complexes, karma that create in me very evil complexes, karma that connect me with the ashrama, with varna and so forth. But still there are karma that connect me with millions of things. So sambandha janakanam karmanam anantya. Then I'm a father, also you do karma, mother also you do karma, son also you do karma, I'm a manager, I'm a driver, I'm a cook, I'm whatever I am. All of that is everything. How many things will you mention? So karmanam anantya. Does it mean that only that Atma becomes free only from the associations that are mentioned here? It says no. Dvidha upasamhritya. All the karmas are now summarized in two categories. All of them. Tad atitatmaha. Actually, Shruti wants to say that Atma transcends every kind of karma. And every kind of an association is transcended. And every kind of a notion is transcended. And to say that, Shruti herself sort of accounts for every kind of karma by reducing all the karmas in two categories. So, dvidha upasamhritya tad atitatmaha. So, how Atma becomes atita, transcends every kind of karma, says kim bahuna iti, says Bhashyakara. Kim bahuna ananvagatam na anvagatam ananvagatam asambadham ityetad punyena shastra vihitena karmana तथा पापेन विहित अकरण प्रतिषिद्ध क्रियालक्षणेन रूपपरत्वात् नपुंसकलिंगम अभयम रूपम इति अनुवर्तते. किम बहुना, to be brief now, to all right, to conclude this. Kim bahuna ananvagatam punyena ananvagatam papena. Shruti says ananvagatam, footnote number 5. Asambadham atma rupamiti anuvartate. That nature of the atma is unconnected to. So na anvagatam ananvagatam. Wonderful, not anvagatam, not connected is called unconnected. Asambadham, unconnected. Ityetata, meaning is asambadham, unconnected. It came earlier, ananvagatam, ananvagadastena bhavati. But anyway, still, asambadham ityetata. Because that's the important point here, as to how Atma remains unconnected to everything. Punyena karmana. What is the punya karma? Shastra vihitena karmana. This is also traditional explanation. Punya karma is shastra vihitam karma. Any action that is performed in keeping with the injunctions of the Shastra is called Punya Karma. But Shastra, so main subject matter of the Shastra is Dharma. And therefore, an action that is performed in keeping with the stipulations of Scripture will be called Punya Karma. Tada Papena, and also by Papa Karma. What is the Papa Karma? Vihita Akarana, Pratisiddha Kriya Lakshanena. Footnote number 6. That we'll see later. So, Vihita Akarana, omission of what one should do also is papa. That's interesting, Not only doing some vicious action is papa, but here, failing to do what I am required to also is papa. Vihita Akarana. Akarane Pratyavaya, Bhashyakara explains it here, accepts it here anyway. As Vedantins, they don't accept it, but here they accept it. Vihita Akarana. Akarane Pratyavaya. If you fail to perform, if you fail to do what you are required to do, then also incur sin. Because the explanation was because you do something that you are not required to do anyway. When you do not do what you should be doing, you will wind up doing something you should not be doing. That way also. But anyway, Vihita Akarana, omitting what is required to be done, Pratisiddha Kriya, and doing something that is commission. So, what we call omission and commission. Omitting what should be done and committing what should not be done, what is prohibited. So that's called Papa Karma. So Anandvagatam that time becomes unconnected. So Anandagiri says, Saushupte Purushe Prakrute Katham Anandvagatam iti Napunsaka Prayogaha Stena Asteno Bhavati is all masculine. Saushupta Purushaha. Saushupta Atma is actually subject matter discussion which is masculine gender all along. All of a sudden, how comes to this Anandvagatam? Prakriti, it is when that is a subject and a discussion, kadam anandvagadamidi napunsaka prayoga. How come Shruti changes gender all of a sudden? So Bhashyaka Rupa Paratvat. Footnote number 7, Rupa Paratvat. तथा च पुरुष रूपमत्र विशेष्य मनुवर्तते भावः. In short, anandvagadam tena punyena bhavati anandvagadam papena. That is the qualification of rupa or swarupa. And swarupa is napumsakalinga, neuter gender. Therefore, this anandvagadam is neuter. Because it qualifies the rupa or swarupa of the Atma. Rupa paratvat meaning rupa visheshanatvat. Then rupam becomes visheshyam. That's what it said here. तथा पुरुष रूपमत्र विशेष्य अनुवर्तते. Then says Anandagiri, Tatparatve hetum anusangam darshayati. Tatparatve means rupaparatve. Prakrita vakyasya rupaparatve rupa anuvatyatmakam hetum. How come Shruti can change? How come Shruti gives this particular visheshana or adjective to rupa? So far adjectives are given to Purusha. And how come now the adjective is given to Rupa? Because there is a context. Abhayam Rupam iti anuvartate. Earlier, in the previous passage was said Abhayam Rupam. And so what is it? Sasyetat aptakamam, atmakamam, akamam rupam, shokantaram. No, Abhayam comes even earlier. Adichanda, yeah. So tadasyetat adichanda. And what is it? Apahatapapma abhayam rupam. Right. So that abhayam rupam. Iti anuvartate. Because the anusanga there. That's the continuity there. This is very important. As to anuvartate. What is it that follows? Particularly in Vyakaranam. These Vyakarana sutras are very, very, because to make them brief. So you must follow. That anusanga is very important. Even in all sutras it's like that. Athado brahma jignasa. Athado Brahma Jignasa, now Brahma Vicharaha Kartavyaha, now we are going to perform the inquiry into Brahman. Then Janmadhyasya, that Brahma Anusanga is there. Brahma Kim Tat Brahma? Yataha Janmadhyasya Jagataha. So Brahma Anusanga is there. So therefore we should know what the Anusanga is there, what the continuity of the thought. Okay, then Anandagiri continues. हेतु वाक्यम आकांक्षा पूर्वक उत्थाप्य व्याचष्टे. सो हेतु वाक्यम आकांक्षा पूर्वक उत्थाप्य. व्हाट इज इट? हेतु वाक्यम. फुटनोट नंबर 16. स्वापे पुंसः पुण्य पाप स्पर्शे हेतु बोधक वाक्यम. श्रुति herself is हेतु. तीर्णो हि तदा सर्वान् शोकान् हृदयस्य भवति. How come Atma or Sausupta Purusha is unconnected to Punya and Papa? Because tada tirno bhavati. At that time he crosses everything, he transcends everything. What? Hridayasya sarvan shokan. Because he transcends all the shoka, all the grief in the heart. That's the reason why he is unconnected to Punya and Papa. And so Anandvagadam punyena, anandvagadam papena. Why? Shruti herself gives, that's called hetu. Hetu is given by Shruti herself. So that section is called hetu vakya. So that's what Anandagiri is hetu vakyam, akanksha purvakam utthapya. So that's the hetu vakya. So tirno hi tada bhavati sarvan hridayasya shokan. So Adaya, taking that vakya, vyachast akanksha purvakam. That vakya is explained with an akanksha, the question. So that vakya is actually an answer to a sudden expectancy. So when Shruti says he transcends the punya and the papa, then there is an expectancy in our mind. Why? Then the hetu comes. So what is the akanksha or what is the expectancy that is fulfilled by the subsequent vakya is what Bhashyakara says. So akanksha purvakam utthapya vyachaste. So that vakya is taken up for vyakya with preceded by an akanksha or expectancy. Kim punah ityadina. Kim punah asammadhatve karanamiti tadhetuhu uchyate. Kim punah, what again is asambandhatve karanam. What again is the reason why the Atma is unconnected to Punya and Papa. So footnote number 9. Asambandhatve, really that's what footnote number 9 means. Punya Papa asambandhatve. So how come Atma is not connected to Punya and Papa? What's the karanam? Iti. So when that question arises, tadhetuhu, Punya Papa asparsha hetuhu. The reason for the unconnection, so unconnectedness with Punya and Papa is being stated by the Shruti, Uchyate. Says Bhashyakara, Tirnaha atikranto hi yasmad evam rupaha tada tasmin kale sarvan shokan शोकाः कामाः तीर्णः अतिक्रान्तः. अतिक्रान्त means transcending. He transcends that. He yasmat, because he transcends what? Evam rupah. Because again the Shruti comes back to masculine gender, that's the thing. So Anandvagatam is okay. Tirno hi, again masculine gender. So Vashyakara says evam rupah atma. Yasmat evam rupa. Evam rupa means what? Atma, who has this rupa, which abhayam rupam. Tada means tasmin kale sushuptau sarvan shokan pirno bhavati. At that time, he grows out of, he transcends, he's beyond all the shoka, all the grief of the heart at that time, in a state of deep sleep. Sri Anandagiri, Yasmad adichandadavakyokta svahavaayam atma. So ayam rupa, atma, ayam rupa atma. Atma who has this rupa. What rupa? Yasmat adichandadavakyokta swarupa atma svahavaayam atma. Since atma is the nature of adichanda, abhata papma, abhayam rupam. Evam rupa, so footnote 7 is evam rupa hi, that's ayam arthaha. Bhashyakara asmat evam rupaha. So Anandagiri explains what is evam rupaha. Atma who has this nature. So what nature? Adichanda, avahata papma, abhayam rupam. Since Atma is the nature, adichanda devakyokta svabhavaha. Since Atma is the nature of that we stated in the previous sentence, adichanda, etc. Ayam Atma sushupti kale. Since Atma at the time of deep sleep is of this nature, Hrudayanishtan sarvan shokan atikramati. Therefore, Atma transcends all the shoka, all the grief that abide in the heart. Tasmad etadatma rupam punya papabhyam anandvagatam yuktam ityartha. Tasmad, for that reason, etadatma rupam, this nature of the Atma obtaining a deep sleep state, or the nature of the Atma which is truly its nature, punya papabhyam anandvagatam. The idea is that because in the state of deep sleep, the Atma becomes unconnected to the heart. Therefore becomes unconnected to these shokas. So all the shoka, the grief, they remain in the heart. So one can get connected to the grief by connection to the heart. If Atma becomes unconnected to the heart, then Atma also becomes unconnected to all the shoka, the grief obtaining in the heart. And that is how Atma becomes unconnected to all the punya and papa. Because shoka is explained as karma, ultimately. So when it is said that, so sarvan shokan tirno bhavati, it means what? Sarvani karmani, that's all it means. Tirno bhavati, he transcends all the action, that's how Bhashyakara explained. So, tasmad etatma rupam punya pavabhyam anandvagatam yuktam ityartha. So it is that reason because of which Atma becomes, so is beyond, goes beyond all the karmas, punya and papa. Okay, we'll continue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Shramana ashramano bhavati. Where Shramana is interpreted as Parivrat, as Sannyasi, Tapasa is interpreted as Vanaprastha, meaning he becomes free from the ideas of ashrama also. And like this you can go on and on, of course, there is no end to the kind of notion that is entertaining. And so how many kinds of karma there must have been? If every notion is a product of a certain karma, then what a variety of karma must have been performed, which result into so many different kinds of notions. Kim bahuna. And so, to be brief, then the Upanishad says that all the karmas are now lumped into two categories, punya and papa. That's all. All the karmas that have been so far described, and any karma that can also be described giving rise to a variety of relationships, all of these can be categorized or divided into two categories, punya and papa. Kim bahuna anandvagatam asambadham ityetad. Unconnected, punyena karmana, shastra vihitena karmana. All the punya karmas that are on his account, he becomes unconnected with them also. Papena karmana, also vihita karana, pratisiddha kriya lakshanena. Papa karma is that not performing what is enjoined and then doing what is prohibited, that is all papa karma. He becomes unconnected with them also. Kim punah asambandhatve karanati. How come that in the state of deep sleep that it becomes unconnected or goes beyond both punya and papa? What is the reason? Etat tad hetuhu uchyate. Shruti herself says, Tirno hi tada sarvan chokan hridayasya bhavati. Because he goes beyond. Tirna, he crosses over. Hridayasya sarvan shokan tirno bhavati. Because he goes beyond all the woes of the heart, all the grief of the heart. So this is where we are on this page 1117. Says Anandagiri in the third line, second paragraph, Ismat atichhandadevaktyokta svabhavayamatma sushupti kale. Says at the time of deep sleep, this Atma is the nature of atichanda, the one that goes beyond all the desires. Abhata papma, one that is free from dharma and adharma. Abhayam, one who is free from ignorance. Inasmuch as in the state of deep sleep, this Atma goes beyond avidya, kama, karma, ignorance, desire and action. Hridaya nishthan sarvan shokan atikramati. And therefore, atikramati transcends all the shoka, all the woes or the grief that are abiding in the heart. Tasmat etadatma rupam punya papabhyam anandvagatam yuktam. So Atma, who is adichanda abhata papma abhayam, so Atma whose nature is such, since in the state of deep sleep, Atma suggests that transcends all the shoka or the grief that abide in the heart, therefore it is quite proper to say that he transcends both punya as well as papa. Tasmat etad atma rupam. Therefore, this atma rupam, nature of the Atma, punya papa bhyam anandvagatam yuktam. Therefore, we have to say that this nature of the Atma is such that is beyond punya and papa. So let us read the third line of the Bhashya here, second paragraph. Kim punaha asambadhatve karanam iti तद्धेतुः उच्यते किम पुनः असंबद्धत्वे कारणम. What again is the reason for his being unconnected to punya and papa? When that question arises, then hetuhu punya papa asparsha hetuhu uchyate. Shruti tells us what's the reason why he is beyond the sparsha or the contact with punya and papa. Shruti herself says, that means tirno hi tada sarvan shokan hridayasya bhavati. That vakya is the hetu, is the reason why ananvagatam punyena ananvagatam papena. Then says Bhashya, तीर्णः अतिक्रांतो हि यस्मात् एवं रूपः तदा तस्मिन् काले सर्वान् शोकान् शोकाः कामाः हि यस्मात् एवं रूपः. Atma, who has this nature of adichanda apahadapapma abhayam. So Atma possessing this rupa or nature, he yasmad, because tirnaha atikrantaha. Since hrudayan, so sarvan shokan hrudayasya atikrantaha. Since he goes beyond all the woes of the heart, therefore, okay. Now Bhashyakara says shokaha kamaha. That's interesting. That he goes beyond all the grief. Shoka means grief for the woes of the heart. Bhashyakara says the word shoka or the grief here should mean kama, desire. So says Anandagiri, shoka shabdasya kama vishayatvam sadhayati. How come the word shoka means kama? Then Bhashyakara explains ishtayati. इष्ट विषय प्रार्थना ही तद विषय वियोगे शोकत्वमापद्यते. इष्टम हि विषयम् अप्राप्तम् वियुक्तम् च उद्दिश्य चिन्तयानः तद्गुणान् संतप्यते पुरुषः. अतः शोकः रतिः कामः इति पर्यायाः. Well, let us say that kama is the reason and shoka is the kama is the cause and shoka is the effect. So we can say that this word describing the effect is used to indicate the cause. Shoka is what results from kama. That's the simply the invariable relationship. Ishta vishaya prarthana hi. Prarthana means kamana. Ishta vishaya kamana hi. So the desire for ishta vishaya, desirable object. Hi tad vishaya viyoge. Tad vishaya kamana vishaya viyoge. So there is a desire, and desire always for a, that is why it is called desire. So desire is always for a desirable object, naturally. So tat kamana viyoge, when there is viyoga or separation from a desired object, shokatvam apadyate, that very kamana, that very desire gets transformed into shoka, into grief. It gets transformed into anger, perhaps, and anger then ultimately gets transformed into sadness. Sadness is always a result of anger. Anger either at someone or anger at one's own self. That's what ultimately makes a person sad. The shoka means grief or sadness is a result of anger, which is a result of the desire. That's the reason why Bhashyakara says that the word grief or sadness here should mean desire. Because it is desire alone that gives rise to this grief. Siddhanandagiri, katham tasyaha shokatvapattihi. Tasyaha कामनाया तस्याः शोकत्वापत्तिः. Footnote 18, प्रार्थनायाः शोकत्वापत्तिः. How come this prarthana of the desire gives rise to, results into shoka? Then Bhashyakara says, ishtam hi vishayam apraptam viyuktam cha. When something that I desire, something that I love, apraptam, when I don't get it, viyuktam cha, or I get separated from that. Uddishya, keeping that in mind, tad gunan chintayana. So what I did not get, what my mind thinks of is all the gunas, the virtues of what I did not get. So what I like to get, what I could not get, so my mind keeps on thinking about the virtues of that thing. Or if I was associated with something that I liked, and now I am disassociated with it, then also my mind keeps on thinking about all the good things about that. So tad gunan chintayana, dwelling upon, brooding over all the gunas, all the wonderful things, that are associated with what is desirable to me. Purusha chintayana ataha, then santapyate, and that's how the fellow santapyate. That's how he feels manasa santapa. He feels shoka, he feels grief. So shoka means manasa santapa. So he feels the pain, mental pain, or the emotional pain. That's called grief. Physical pain is okay. Okay means, even jnanam cannot relieve us from physical pain. Nothing can relieve us, it's all prarabdha. As far as the mental pain is concerned, that is purely a product of ignorance. That's all. And that is samsara. So, santapyate purusha ataha. Footnote number 1 on that page, ataha nirukta prarthanaya eva ukta vidhaya shokatmana parinatatvad. Nirukta prarthanaya eva, nirukta means of which the ukti, the definition has been given, the prarthana. Tasyaha eva ukta vidhaya, of that prarthana alone, ukta vidhaya, in a manner that has been also stated here, shokatmana parinatatvat, inasmuch as it is prarthana or the desire that really gets transformed into shoka or the grief in a manner in which it is described, atah, therefore, shoka. Whether you call it grief, ratihi. Ratihi means what? Love for something. Kama, desire. So first is ratihi. First is the liking for something. Dhyayato vishayan pamsa sangasteshu bhajayate. Sangha pritihi. So when I dwell upon the virtues of an object, that's all. When I dwell upon the virtues of an object, then there arises ratihi or pritihi, a liking for that. And then Sangha Sanjayate Kamaha. From Sangha, from that priti or the liking, comes Kama, the desire. Kamat Krodho Vijayate. And from Kama, the desire, comes Krodha. That's why Bhashyakara says all these words amount to the same thing. Pariyaya, of course, they are not Pariyaya, but then they amount to the same thing. Whether you call it Sangha Pritihi, liking, or attachment, or you call it Kama, the desire, you call it Krodha, the anger, or you call it grief, Shokaha, Pariyaya. All of them are synonymous, meaning they all amount to the same thing. Can't call them Pariyaya, but anyway, the Shoka and Pratihi cannot be called Pariyaya. But anyway, they amount to the same thing. That's how we have to understand. This is Anandagiri. Tesham Pariyayatvevi. All right. Let us say that the liking and the desire and the grief and everything is all the same. Tathapi Prakrite Kimayatam Prakrite Atmana Punyadi Asprishtatve Anandvagadam Punyena Anandvagadam Papena. That Atma is Asprishtaha, is untouched by Punya and Papa. All right. Suppose Shoka and the Rati and the Kama are the same. Even then, what relevance does it have with reference to what we are talking about? What we are talking about is how to understand that the Atma goes beyond the Punya and Papa. So what relevance does this have? Tadaha. If this is the question, then Bhashyakara says, Yasmadati, on page 11-18. Yasmat sarvakamatitah hi atrayam bhavate. Yasmat, since atra, in this state of deep sleep, atra it is sushupti uchyate. Atra, in the state of deep sleep, I am sarvakama atito bhavati. He goes beyond all the kama or the desires. That has been stated. अतः सर्वकाम अतीर्णत्वाद उत्तरत्व संबंध. So that atah, wherever that is, atra iti sushupti uchyate, atah purusha, atah shokah ratihi, atah is there. Atah sarvakam atitirnatvat iti uttaratra sambandha. So atah and yasmat. Since he goes beyond all the kamas, therefore, then siddhanagi na kevalam shoka sabdasya काम विषयत्वम उपपन्नमेव किंतु सन्निधेः अपि सिद्धमित्याह न केवलम शोक शब्दस्य काम विषयत्वम उपपन्नम is reasonable in keeping with the reason. Not only that the word shoka is equivalent to kama, so by the reasons that has been shown, kintu not only that but sannidhehe api, because of proximity also of the word kama and shoka, both are in proximity, therefore also siddham that shoka and kama should mean the same thing. Ityaha na kanchana iti. So Bhashyakara says na kanchana kamam kamayate atichanda iti hi uktam tat prakriya patitoyam shoka shabdah kama vachanah eva bhavitumarhati. Say na kanchana kamam kamayate. Right, back there. 4:3:19. So in the 19th Kandika, in the 22nd, na kanchana kamam kamayate, na kanchana swapnam pashyati. That's sushuptam, as Mandukya also says. So that is deep sleep state where one does not entertain any desire, nor one sees any dream. So that is called that is the sthanam, etat antaya dhavati. The example was given there, how a shenah, so how a falcon, and bird like that keeps on going around. Where is it? It's here? Yeah, right, the very first one. Tadetha asmin akashe sheno va suparno va viparipatya shrantah samhrutya pakshau sanlaeva dhriyate एवमेव अयम पुरुष एतस्मि अंताय धावते यत्र सुप्तो न कंचन कामम कामयते. Anta there means Brahman. So where he rests towards Brahman. Then the deep sleep state where he becomes free from all the desire. That's all. Na kanchana kamam kamayate. And atichanda. Of course that is atichanda is we already just saw. So that is the rupa atichanda apahata papma abhayam rupam. Iti huktam. That was stated in the previous Kandika 21. Tat prakriya patitoyam shoka shabdah. So discussion here is all kama, going beyond kama. Tat prakriya patitoyam kama prakarana pathita. Prakarana is prakarana. Tat prakarana pathitoham ayam. So this shoka shabda also occurs in the same context. Shoka shabdah kama vachanayam bhavitumarhati. Therefore, this word shoka, which occurs in the same context as the kama, should also mean kama. So here we are talking about vidya, kama, karma. There was nobody else has an entry. Shoka etc. must also mean that only. Otherwise, the context sort of doesn't quite, everything doesn't quite fit. And therefore, so shoka is explained here as kama. Then Sri Dhanagiri, shoka shabdasya kama vishayatvepi, all right. Say the word shoka means kama, then also tadatya matrat katham karmatyah syat. Tadatya matrat. So just because there is atya or transcending the kama, so tadatya footnote number 9 is kama atikramana matrena. All right, that the atma goes beyond the kama. Even then, katham karmatyah. Still, how do you say that? He is sprushta, he is unconnected to punya and papa. How? Ityaha kamaschayati. Kamascha karma hetuhu. And kama is the reason for karma. That's all. Kama gives rise to karma. Tatra vakya shesham pramanayati. Tatra. So, kamasya karma hetutve, that kama is the cause for karma, vakya shesham. A passage that will occur subsequently is being present here as pramanam, as evidence as to how the kama, the desire, is the cause of karma. It's a well-known thing, but still Bhashyakara quotes here a passage from the very same Upanishad. Vakshatihi sa yatha kamo bhavate tat kratur bhavate yat kratur bhavate tat karma kurute iti. Vakshatihi, where in the 445, page 1201, again, Svayam Atma Brahma Vijnanamaya Manomaya Pranamaya Chakshumaya Shrotramaya Prasvimaya Apomaya Vangmaya Vayumaya Akashmaya Tejomaya. Then what is it? Atejomaya Kamaya Akamaya Krodhamaya Akrodhamaya Dharmaya Adharmaya Sarvamaya. Tadyat etat idam idamaya adomaya iti. Yathakari yathachari tatha bhavati sadhukari sadhur papakari papo bhavati punyah punyena karmana bhavati papah papena atho khalvahu kamah evayam purushayati sa yatha kama bhavati tat kratur bhavati yat kratur bhavati tat karma kurade yat karma kurade tat abhisampadhyate. It's a very famous passage. Vakshadihi sa yatha kama bhavati. Whatever it is that it desires, yatha kama bhavati. Tat kratur bhavati. First arises a desire in the mind, then karatuhu sankalpa. First is I want to have this. Then sankalpa, I am going to do this. Sankalpa is the resolve with reference to a particular karma. So when a desire arises in my mind, naturally there is a prerna, there is also a prompting, that I am prompted to perform an action. So there arises in my mind a sankalpa. And generally what happens is that is how manasa sankalpyate. So when the mind, the sankalpa arises that this is what I am going to do. There is a desire for something. But then my mind connects by the sadhya sadhana sambandha, the mind connects how that sadhya or the end can be attained by what sadhana, what means, and that's how with a desire for sadhya, the sankalpa, the resolve for sadhanam arises. Sadhana means a means, and means is usually karma. So sankalpa, the resolve for a specific karma arises. So yat kartur bhavati, tat karma kurute. And whatever resolve arises with reference to a karma or action, that is a karma or action that a person performs. So first kama, then karatuhu, then karma. Although avidya kama karma, between kama and karma there is also a step called kratuhu, a sankalpa. Because the desire may arise, but somehow a sankalpa or the resolve does not arise, that desire does not result into action. Action is not the direct, immediate effect of the desire, but action is the immediate effect of sankalpa, the resolve to do something. So, in short, kama karma hetuhu. Karma is that which results from kama through the agency of the sankalpa. Kamasya karma hetutve siddhe phalitamaha. Alright, now that it is determined that kama is the cause of karma, so what does it amount to? Ataha iti. Ataha sarva kama atitirnatvad yuktam ananvagatam punyena ityade. Ataha kama, kamasya karma hetutvad, there must be sya in there. Kamasya, footnote number 7. Kamasya karma hetutvad. Since kama is the cause for the karma, therefore sarva kama atitirnatvad, because it transcends all the desires in the state of deep sleep, where sushupto, in the deep sleep, yuktam ananvagatam punyena ityadi. Therefore, it is quite proper that he also goes beyond all the punya and papa. So when he goes beyond all the punya and papa, he goes beyond all the karma. That means he goes beyond all the relationships. Because karma alone bring about every relationship. So he goes beyond all the relationships. And then he goes beyond all the complexes, because a complex is created from a relationship. Because our life is nothing but a series of relationships. I keep on relating to the world. And even if I do not relate to a world outside of me, I relate to a world within me anyway. So in all waking and the dream states, I am always related to something. And that relationship is the product of a karma. There must be a reason why a given thought occurs in my mind. That is the reason why, how do I feel the way I do? That is the reason why I get associated with a certain person, whatever it is. Even when I get associated with a person, that a certain relationship gets established. And that as a result of the relationship, a certain complex arises in me. All of this is determined by karma. This is the explanation. What else can determine? So, that is why when one goes beyond the karma, one goes beyond all the relationships, therefore one goes beyond all the complexes, such as pita, mata and everything, and that's how one becomes totally free. Because what is bondage is nothing but all these complexes, these notions about oneself. Continuing, Sri Anandagiri, Hrudayasya shokan vikramadidyatra Hrudaya shabdarthamaha Sarvan shokan Hrudayasya adikramadi. So, he transcends all the woes of the heart. What is meant by this heart? So, it is Hrudaya shabdarthamaha. The meaning of the word Hrudaya is given here by Bhashyakara. Hrudayasya Hrudayamiti पुंडरीकाकारो मांसपिंडः तत्स्थम् अंतःकरणं बुद्धिः हृदयम् इति उच्यते तात्स्थ्यात् मंचकोशनवत् मंचक्रोशनवत् हृदयस्य. So, Hrudayasya shokan vikramati dirno bhavati Hrudayamiti pundarikakaro mamsapindaha. So, by the word Hrudaya of the heart is meant this lump of flesh, which is said to be of the form of shape of a lotus, inverted lotus. Tatstham antahkaranam. Antahkaranam, the mind is said to be seated in the heart. So, heart is said to be the seat of this mind. And therefore, by the heart is meant the mind, of which the heart is the seat. Tatsam antahkaranam buddhi. Buddhi means the intellect of the mind. Hrudayam iti uchyate. So by the word Hrudayam here, we should understand the mind. Why? Tatsthyat. Siddhanagiri. Mamsapinda vishesha vishayam Hrudayapadam. Katham buddhimahayati ashankyaha. Hey, Mamsapinda Vishesha Vishayam Hrudayapadam. Hrudayapadam, the word Hrudaya is Mamsapinda Vishesha Vishayam. So, word Hrudaya normally has its Vishaya, its object, in this thing called, that is a lump of flesh. Katham Buddhima. How can this word Hrudaya mean Buddhi? Iti ashange Tatsthyaditi. So, state of being Tatsam. Because this intellect or mind is in the Hridayam. So tasmin sthitam. The mind actually obtains in the Hridayam. That's the idea. That's what the Yoga Shastra says, that the mind has its seat in the heart. It is all the feelings of the seat in the heart. That is also true. It is not superstition, it is true also. This is, as we said earlier also, the scientific research indicated the heart is a very powerful center of energy, tremendous center, much more powerful than even the brain. So brain, of course, is the center of consciousness and whatever it is, but heart is perhaps 10 times, as powerful as the brain in terms of the energy, in terms of the feeling, in terms of energy. That's why now they talk of invoking the feelings in the heart. So meditating on heart, meditating upon the place called the heart, and then at the same time thinking of the very noble feelings. So concentrate the mind in the heart, and think of love and compassion and kindness and charity and invoke those things. So invoke those feelings from the heart. Because they are very powerful feelings, a lot of power is there, and that is how one can invoke from the heart. And so it is necessary also to be able to cultivate, the heart also. Not merely the head, but the heart. So these words are always the head and heart. These words have always been used. And that the Yoga Shastra says that the mind, or let us say particularly the feeling faculty, the whole mind according to them. According to Yoga Shastra, the mind with antahkaranam has its seat in the heart, in the space within the heart. And there again the Atma, the consciousness gets reflected, and from there, through all the nadis or nerves, the consciousness gets transmitted throughout the body. This is the idea there. That's how Purusha Suktam also describes things. But anyway, so what is this Tatsthyadi? Yatha manchaha kroshanti iti Siddhantagiri. Yatha manchaha kroshanti, the scaffolding, they are screaming. Iti manchakoshanam uchyamanam manchasthan purushan upacharat aha. So, when a person takes a walk early morning, then you see the screaming all from all the fields. It's amazing. At that time in the morning, there's a lot of noise when you go out for a walk in the field, because these farmers who are, so they sleep on the tree and the scaffolding that they have made, that's where they sleep. Oh, that's where they sit anyway. So in the early morning, the birds come, but at the time of the harvest, all the birds come to have a feast, and these fellows will drive the birds away. So they keep on screaming. So you don't see the people, but you hear the screams, you see the scaffoldings. So you say, manchaha kroshanti, the scaffolding, the screaming. Iti manchakoshanam. So this is really, so jhal lakshanaya iti. So this is a very good example of jhal lakshana. Although they always say Gangayam Ghosha, that's okay. So Gangayam Ghosha, where the Ganga Pada is replaced by the Pada Tira. So Tira is Ghosha. But still, here, I think this example of Manchaha Kroshanti, that the idea of Mancha completely goes away from our mind and giving rise to the people. And so, Manchasthan Purushan. So the word Mancha completely is replaced by the word Purusha associated with the Mancha. Even when you say Tira, it is always Ganga Tira somehow, and so that idea of Ganga does not totally go away from our mind when you say Gangayam Ghosha. But anyway, this standard example of Jhal Lakshana, so we have nothing to say. But I think this example, Manchaha Kroshanti, the scaffolding, the screaming, iti Manchakoshanam Uchyamanam Manchasthan Purushan Upacharat, meaning Lakshanaya Vrittya. So footnote number 12 says, Jhal Lakshana iti, by Jhal Lakshana. In fact, so by Lakshana Vritti, so by implication, it means Purushaha. Tatha Hridayasthatvad Buddhe. Similarly also the Buddhi, because its location is, locus is in the Hridaya, the heart, Upacharat Buddhim Hridaya Shabdaha Darshayati. Therefore, by Lakshana Vritti, by implication, the word Hridaya, heart should mean here Buddhi, that's all. Then Anandagiri continues, Hridaya Shabdartha Muktva Tasya Sambandham Darshayati. Footnote number 13, Tasya Sambandham Hridaya Shabdarthasya Buddhehe Shok Shabdarthena Kamadena Saha Sambandham Ashrayashayitva Rupam Ityartha. So Hridaya Shabdartha Muktva, having given the meaning of the word Hridaya, Tasya Sambandham Darshayati. Really, what is said is that, so Sarvan Shotirno Hitada Sarvan Shokan Hridayasya. So he transcends all the woes of the heart. And that is somehow to be connected with transcending punya and papa. The idea is that because Tirno he means Yasmat. Yasmat means the Hetu. Because he goes beyond all the woes of the heart, therefore he is not connected with punya and papa. Now what's the connection? Because Atma in the state of deep sleep goes beyond all the woes of the heart, therefore he is unconnected to punya and unconnected to papa. That's why Bhashyakara has to connect this. Therefore heart must be connected properly, the shoka also must be understood properly. That's why the word shoka is explained here as the prarthana or the kama, and the kama is the cause of the karma, and so word shoka ultimately amounts to karma. But then where is this karma located? In the Hridayam. What is the Hridayam? Hridayam means here not Manasa Pinda but Buddhi. So that Ashraya Ashayatva Sambandha also must be established. That the kamas are not the Atma is not the locus of the kama. So kama are not located in the Atma, kamas are located in the mind. That also is very important to establish. That's what Bhashyakara does. Hridaya Shabda Tasya Sambandham. So footnote 13 said, Tasya Sambandham iti Hridaya Shabda Tasya Buddhe. Tasya means Buddhe. So Buddhi, which is the meaning of the word Hridaya, Shoka Shabdarthena Sambandham. Tasya Sambandham. Tasya Buddhehe Sambandham, shokena sa sambandham. So shoka shabdarthena. Shoka also means kama. Shoka shabdarthena kamadina. So meaning of the word kama, etc., which are meaning of the word shoka. So meaning of the word shoka first was kama and then karma. So what is the relationship that the buddhi has with karma? So kamadina sambandham ashraya, ashrayatva rupam. That the buddhi is the ashraya, the locus of all the kama, atma is not the ashraya. Darshayati Bhashyakara shows Hridayasya. Hridayasya buddhehe ye shokaha kamaha buddhi samshrayahite. Hridayasya shokan. Hridayasya means buddhehe. Buddhihe ye shokaha kamaha. All the desires which belong to buddhi. Buddhi samshrayahite, because all the desires are actually have a samshraya or the locus in the buddhi. Then says tan atikranto bhavati iti sheshaha, that he transcends them. This is what is to be added. Then says again atma ashrayaste na buddhimashrayan vidi. How do you say that the kamas, the desires, have their locus or seat in the buddhi? Why not the desires having their seat in the atma? There are people who think that the desires are actually the property or the attribute of the atma. Iti ashankyaha buddhi. So Bhashyakara says, buddhi samshrayahite. See, the samshraya or the ashraya of the kama is in buddhi. Nisrutanandagi, katham tarhi kechit atmashrayam tesha atmashrayatvam tesha vadanti. How come then? Katham tarhi kamanam hriday ashitavye or ashitatve. Tatve also is okay. When you say, according to what you say is that kamas or desires have their seat in the mind, kechit tarkika, how come Vaisheshikas, Nyayikas, all of these people, so atmashrayatvam tesham vadanti tesham kamanam, how come the tarkikas and Nyayikas say that so buddhi jnanam sammoha, all of these, no, what is it, sukham dukkham, no, I'm trying to correct it, the 13th chapter actually, where Lord Krishna describes the kshetram. Ichha, dvesha, sukham, dukkham, sanghata. So ichha, dvesha, sukha, dukkha. Lord mentions all of them specifically because the Nyayikas and Vaisheshikas believe that ichha, dvesha, sukha, dukkha, all of these are the attributes of Atma. So that is a very important statement for the Vedantins. Where every time says, look, Lord Krishna very clearly says, ichha, dvesha, sukha, dukkha, all these belong to, they are in the category of kshetra. Here also, kechit tarkikadaya tesham kamanam atmashrayatvam vadanti. How come they say that these are all located in the Atma? Iti ashankya bhranti vashadati. That's only because of bhranti, delusion, that's all. Footnote number 5. Is it? Yeah. Hridaya akhya karana. No, bhranti vashadati. Oh, this is footnote number, in fact, 9. Or 10. Where is that? Where is this thing? Huh? There's no footnote there. I said there is this thing. So, Bhranti Vashad. I thought the mark, some marks are there. So, I think it's a footnote. Okay. Everything is so small anyway. And somehow we establish the right distance with all these things here. Okay. So Bhranti Vashat, all of this is due to Bhranti, all of this is due to delusion. They are Atma. No, this is a bit too close, I think, I believe, right? So Atma. Okay, so we have to read the Bhashya on the page 1119. कामः संकल्पः विचिकित्सा इत्यादि सर्वं मनः एव इति उक्तत्वात् वक्ष्यति च कामा येस्य हृदि श्रिताः इति. Yeah, okay. So buddhi samshraya hite, the kamas have their seat in the buddhi of the mind. Why do you say that? Kamaha, it was all the way in the 153. Kamaha, sankalpa, vichikitsa, shraddha, dhruti, etc. So, ityadi saram manaha, all of this is nothing but the mind. So, that's kama. So, it's nothing but mind. Meaning the mind is the ashraya, or the locus of the kama, and all the other various thoughts also. Iti uktatvat mana eva. The evakara also is that is nothing but the mind. Iti uktatvat vakshadisha, and will state it subsequently also. That will be again 447. Kama yes sirdishikaha. Athamartyo mruto bhavati. Atra brahma samashrute. Kathopanishad also says, then Brihadaranyaka also says. So when this wise man transcends all the kamas, hridishitaha, that are located in the heart. Okay, this is so then, how come some people think that the kama, the desires, have their locus in the Atma? Then Bhashyakara says, Atma samshraya bhranti apanodayahi idam vachanam hridishitaha hridayasya shokaha iti cha. Atma samshraya bhranti apanodayahi idam vachanam. The reason why it is very clearly said, so sarvan shokan hridayasya. So the reason why hridayasya sarvan shokan, the reason why the word hridaya is specifically mentioned is Atma samshraya bhranti apanodaya. To eliminate the bhranti of the delusion, some people have that the kamas are located in the Atma. So kamanam Atma samshraya bhranti apanodaya hidam vachanam. And hridishitaha, this kama yesya hridishitaha. So Upanishad makes it a point to specifically say that the desires which are located in the heart. Rudrasya, the Lord Krishna also said, Rajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatam. So all the kamas which are manogatam, which are all located in the mind. Rajahati, that's the reason why one is able to give them up. The only reason why one is able to give up the desires because desires have their locus in the mind. Had desires have their locus in the Atma, there is no way that one can give up. There is no way that one can give up Satchidanandatvam of oneself. No way you can give up. But kamas can be given up because they are not located in the Atma. Hridishritaha, hridayasya shokaha. Footnote 4, hridayasya shokan. It will be Prakrita Vakya Patha. But anyway, so hridayasya shokaha, iti cha. That's why Upanishad makes it a point to relate these kamas with hridaya, with the mind. Nishritanandagiri, bhavati kamanam hridayashritatvam. All right, let us say that the desires have the locus in the hridaya, in the heart. Hridayashritatvam means buddhistatvam, that they have their locus in the buddhi of the mind. Tathapi, even then. So it is tathavi, whatever, it is not there, tathavi, tas sambandha dvara, tad ashrayatva sambhavat, kasamatma sushupte kamanati vartate. All right, let us say all the kamas are located in the heart, understood. Even then, tat sambandha dvara, now footnote number 13, it says Brahma sambandha dvara, it can't be. It should be really Hridaya Sambandha Dvara. So Tat Sambandha Dvara Tad Ashrayatva Sambhavat. Let us say that the kamas have the locus in the heart, but heart has sambandha with the Atma, So Tat Sambandha Dvara, let us say that the Atma has, that means sambandha with the buddhi, tad ashrayatva sambhavat Atma. So indirectly, why can it not be? That kamas are connected with the heart, mind, but mind is connected with the Atma. Let us say, that is how Atma becomes connected with the kama. Why not that way? Tad ashrayatva sambhavat katham Atma sushupte kamanadi vartate. How do you say that the Atma transcends the desires in the deep sleep state? Because all right. So Atma is connected to Hridaya, and Hridaya is connected to Kama. That is why in the deep sleep state also Atma remains connected to Kama, and therefore it remains connected to Karma also. Why not? Tatraha Hridayati. Bhashyakara says, Hridaya karana sambandhatitara तीतश्च हृदय कर्ण संबंधातीतश्च अयम् अस्मिन् काले अतिक्रामति मृत्योरूपाणि इति उक्तम्. हृदय कर्ण संबंध अतीतश्च अयम् अस्मिन् काले. In Sushupti, in the state of deep sleep, the Atma is so Hridaya Karana, footnote number 5. Hridayaksha Karana Idyavat. Hridaya means buddhi. Karana means the instrument, the inner instrument. So the inner organ which is called the inner buddhi or the Karanam, so Sambandha Atividascha Ayamatma Asmin Kale Bhavati. It has already been stated that the Atma becomes unconnected to the buddhi in the state of deep sleep. Mrityoho rupani atikramadi mrityoho rupani iti. Mrityoho 437 on the page 1231. Anyway, the stated that he transcends mrityoho rupani, the forms of death. Meaning he transcends the Sanghata was very clearly stated. Therefore, it is known that the Atma becomes unconnected to the buddhi in the state of deep sleep, and therefore becomes unconnected to the kama which are there in the buddhi. Next Anandagiri, tat sambandhati tattve shruti siddhile phalitamaha. Tat sambandhati tattve hridaya sambandhati tattve. That Atma transcends also even this connection in the heart or with the mind. Shruti siddhe phalitam, because the Shruti herself has stated in so many words, phalitamaha, so then it amounts to saying this, hridaya karana iti. The last sentence in the paragraph, hridaya karana